Hi everyone, this is Mrs. Poland for lesson 4.18, binomial distributions, the mean and standard deviation, and we're going to be working on example 2 of the lesson. Example 2. An online poll reported that 20% of respondents subscribed to the 5-second rule. That is, they would eat a piece of food that fell onto the kitchen floor if it was picked up within 5 seconds. Let's assume that this figure is accurate for the entire U.S. population, and we will select 15 people at random from this population. So first of all, part A asks, determine the probability that exactly 3 of 15 people subscribe to the 5-second rule. So let's see if this meets the condition of bins. It's a binary setting. Either people responded yes or the people responded no. Each individual is independent from another. N is a fixed number. In fact, we know that we're looking at a sample size of 15. And we're told that it's the same chance, which would be 20%. So we've met the conditions for a binomial distribution. So now, what is it that we want to find? The probability that exactly 3. So let me write out the general formula on the top right corner. You can find this formula on the reference sheet. There's some minor differences on the reference sheet. The first difference is that they use x instead of a lowercase k, and instead of q, they use 1 minus p. So let's write down the parameters on the slide. We know n in this case is 15, that's the sample size. We want to see exactly 3 who responded yes. The probability that an individual person responded yes is 20%, and the probability they responded no is 1 minus 20.2 or 0.8. So now we're going to substitute into the formula. So the combination of 15 from 3 out of 3, 0.2 to the third, and 0.8 to the 15 minus 3, or 12. We're going to use the calculator function to do the arithmetic, specifically binomial PDF. The low is 15, the chance is 0.2, and k is 3. We'll just list the parameters on top. And now let's enter it in the calculator. So we go to the calculator. I'm on a fresh calculator page. I hit Menu, Statistics, Distributions, and it's my A. And I type in 15.2 and 3, and I hit OK. And I get 0.2501. You should carry things out to a minimum of 3 to 4 places. Okay, so let's go on to the second example. Find the probability that less than 4 people out of 15 subscribe to the 5-second rule. So you have to be very careful with notation. In this case, it's less than 4, not less than or equal to 4. And that's going to be different. So the parameters are going to be n, k, p, and q. N in this case is still 15, that's the sample size. But k is 0, 1, 2, 3, but not 4. So you have to be very careful because sometimes people will think, oh, it's the at most case and go less than or equal to 4, but that's not the case. P is 0.2 and Q is still 0.8. So when you do multiple cases, you still have to write out at least, even with using the calculator, the first and the last term. So 15 choose 0, 0.2 to the 0, 0.8 to the 15 minus 0 or 15, plus dot dot dot, plus 15, and then the highest was 3, 0.2 to the third, 0.8 to the 12th. We're going to end up using the binomial CDF command. CDF stands for cumulative density function, and it's amazing. So N is 15, P is 0.2, the low is 0, and the high is 3 in this case, not 4, 3, because you're only going up to 4. So that's N, P, low, and high. So now we're going to go into our calculator. Menu, statistics, distributions, option, scroll down, whoop, goes too fast. Menu, statistics, distributions. I know it's B because this calculator is pretty sensitive, so I don't want to waste time. So it's 15.2, the low was 0, and the high was 3, and I hit OK. And I get 0.6482. And let me box that in. Question 3. Let F, the number of people in our sample of 15 who subscribe to the 5-second rule, calculate and interpret the mean of the distribution. So the mean or the expected value of this distribution, again use capital EX because it's actually capital F because that's how they define the distribution. They give you that formula on the reference sheet and it's simply N times P. So in this case it's 15 times 0.2, which is equal to 3. We now need to interpret it. So the interpretation is on average. You have to always include this in your interpretation. The number of people who subscribe to the 5-second rule out of 15, that's also an important, you have to, out of whatever your sample size is about 3 people. Okay. Part D, calculate and interpret the standard deviation of the distribution. And again, this formula is included in your reference sheet, so it's nice. And I guess again, it's not X, but the random variable F. And the general formula is NPQ. And so in this case, it's square root of 15 times 0.2 times 0.8. And when I enter that in the calculator, I get a decimal value that's approximately 1.5492. And now we're going to stop and interpret it. On average, the number of people out of 15 who subscribe to the 5-second rule will vary from the mean of 3 by about 1.55 subscribers.